What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. We're here at the MIgardener headquarters where we have our herb trial garden. And basically in our trial garden, we have about 30 or 40 different herb plants that we're growing for, basically growing from seed, either from seeds we carry already in the store or seeds we're considering carrying. And we have a ton of herbs that are ready to harvest. We have some beautiful thyme examples over here. We got some sage, fennel, there's some echinacea, lots of really cool herbs that we're growing in this herb garden here. And there's a lot that are ready to be harvested. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to bring you guys along and talk about a super simple, very old method of drying herbs called hang drying. And basically hang drying is, as the name would imply, we're drying herbs using just literally air. And a lot of people forget about this method and actually destroy the quality of their herbs or do way more work than is needed to preserve their herbs. So I'm gonna bring you guys along. We're gonna do some harvesting as well as some hang drying so we can talk about the benefits, as well as gonna give you guys some inspiration on some hang drying herbs that do really well that a lot of people often overlook. So here we actually have some lemon thyme. Now lemon thyme is a variegated thyme. You can't grow it from seed. It won't grow true to seed. It's actually a mutation that you need cuttings for. So we're growing this because we're thinking about maybe carrying some plugs in the future of some lemon thyme. And I love the growth habit of this. It's absolutely beautiful, but I also love the flavor. It's got a slight citrusy flavor to it, and it's great. It has a really nice mounding habit to it. And we're gonna clip some of this because some of this is ready to be dried. Now, when you come in and clip thyme, you wanna clip it back, really far back. But you don't wanna clip too far back to where you actually take from the actual kind of center of the plant. Thyme will kind of crawl along the ground, and all we're doing is we're creating basically these bundles just like this, right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our twine and we're simply going to bundle them together. It's super simple. Just like that. Next we have what's called common English thyme. Now common English thyme is a variety that we do carry. It does grow true to type from seed. So we actually carry this in the MIgardener seed store. And I love this variety because it has a really nice upright yet bushy growth habit to it. It's so wonderful for making these bundles because you don't have to really chop the plant really far back. You can basically just take your bundles just as you would normally and clip it back. Now, I also will tell you too, quick little tip, is that when you prune your herbs, pruning them in early spring or late fall is the best time to actually encourage that future growth. Pruning back any perennial herb, whether it be lavender, thyme, sage, oregano, whatever it may be, it's really going to help because what it's going to do is that next season, it's going to encourage that new growth, and that new growth is what is the most fragrant, and it makes the best culinary use for your herbs. So I like to prune most of my herbs back, my perennial herbs in the fall, just because that way in the spring they're ready to grow. So don't feel like you're hurting them by chopping them back. As long as you leave about 30% of that plant, it should grow back just fine because the roots are intact. And all that energy right now, when it gets cold, is down in the roots anyways. Here we have some Italian thyme. I love Italian thyme because the leaves are just so small. This also will grow true to type from seed. So we're actually considering carrying this. If you think it'd be fun for us to carry this variety and you'd be interested, let me know in the comments box down below. But I absolutely love these super teeny tiny little leaves, super delicate, absolutely beautiful flavor and aroma. Just, it's so incredible. So we're gonna clip some of these. I won't show you that whole process because that's gonna get repetitive. And then over here, check it out. This one right here is known as winter thyme. Now winter thyme is really unique because it has when it gets cold, it has very pink stems. Also, the leaves are pretty sparse and really spread out. So it's not necessarily like a culinary cutting herb like your other thymes. Though it is edible, it is still super fragrant. This one right here is just very upright and kind of sparse, still very cool. We're considering carrying this one as well in the MIgardener seed store. Every herb has its unique benefits and its perks, but this one's definitely more of like a home herb rather than like a a cultivated culinary herb just because it makes harvesting a little bit difficult. But I mean, you'd still do the exact same thing as you did always. Come in here and clip it back and bundle it up. So still nice for the home gardener. Maybe it's not so nice for the market gardener, but check it out. Look at the beautiful red pink stems. That's why I love this variety. Winter thyme is incredibly beautiful. Pretty nice, huh? All right, same thing with the thyme as with the broadleaf sage. This beautiful sage plant here just gets clipped back, and we're just gonna clip back a bunch of these stems here. This is all New Year's growth. So it's gonna promote a lot more growth next year, which is awesome. But it's gonna allow us to create a bundle that then we can bundle up and tie to get ready for hanging. Kind of a little tip for you. When you hang dry, it's really important that you have a good hanging point here. That way, when they do hang, it's going to kind of splay out the bundle. Because what you don't want is you don't want to wrap it super tight like this, because what's going to happen is on some of these more moisture-rich leaves, like the sage, the thyme, not so much. The thyme has really small, spindly leaves, but this sage here, if you were to bundle it like this, what would happen is the inside leaves wouldn't have a chance to dry out as much. So compare that to this, it really allows a lot more airflow in between those leaves. And even though it looks pretty dense, it's gonna dry out very well. So I like to have enough stem to where I can tie the end, and it allows kind of the ends to kind of splay out a little bit. A little tip, because I've had a few moldy experiences hang drying herbs by having them too tightly bound. Check it out, look at this rosemary. This rosemary is absolutely stunning. It's actually on year 2 because we had such a mild winter that it survived. Now, rosemary typically will not survive for us, so I'm really gonna be quite aggressive in cutting this back. If we happen to have another mild winter, great, it'll come back. If not, I'll have saved it and it's gonna be inside. So I'm definitely gonna cut back a decent amount of this. Rosemary is considered a tender perennial, so it can come back in certain zones. A lot of people have luck with it coming back, but up here in Michigan, even in zone 6A, not warm enough throughout winter. We just happen to have a very kind of a freak winter where it was super warm. So we're gonna clip a lot of this stuff back here quite aggressively. Now, if you're coming in and you just wanna save a little bit, come back in here and just save a little bit. Same thing. I'm just gonna clip back a lot more because the chance of this surviving are really slim to none. And if it does, great. If not, we're gonna have a bunch saved. Same thing, I'm gonna bundle it up because these leaves are so spindly. I'm just gonna come in here, I'm gonna wrap these up just like this, and there shouldn't be any problem with mold because these leaves are so small and spindly. But wow, that smells incredible. All right, now we're gonna do a different one here. This is not quite the same as those other Mediterranean style herbs, but we're going to actually hang dry some fennel. Now, I love fennel seed, especially for making bread. One of my all-time favorite breads currently is a sea salt and fennel sourdough. It is just, ooh, so good. So what we're gonna do, because these seed pods are green here and we don't wanna lose them in the ground, what we're gonna do is we're gonna harvest them when they're plump and green, and we're gonna hang dry them. It's really, really simple. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and cut these out because the plants are basically gonna be done. You'll notice these ones here are inviable. They're not gonna produce any good fennel. So you want, notice the difference? Plump, semi-plump, and not, the pollination did not take, probably because it got too cold. But coming in here, have another great example. Be careful, some of these are kind of starting to dry already. There we go. But if they dry, they fall off the plant way too easily. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry them inside so they're not being jostled, they're not being brushed by the wind, they're not getting hit with animals, and they're not gonna fall on the ground. So we're going to just basically bundle them just like this, right? We're gonna bundle them just like this, and that's how we're gonna hang them. So that is that. I'm gonna get a few more of these stems here, and we'll go inside. These are all the ones we can really dry from our current herb garden, but there's lots more that we're gonna talk about. All right, so I know you're probably thinking, Luke, if you harvested that fennel, how come you're not taking this beautiful fennel in to hang dry this? Well, that's because This fennel here will not hang dry well at all. That's because fennel is better used as a dry spice than as a dry herb. It's better used as a fresh herb. The difference is, and you guys may know this already, but if you don't, this is actually a spice, this is an herb. The definition of a spice is any part of a plant besides foliage that's used. So it could be bark, it could be the fruits, it could be the roots, it could be the seeds, right? It could be whatever part of the plant besides the leaves. That's what makes it a spice versus an herb. So this is a leaf, so it's an herb. Rosemary leaves are herbs. Thyme leaves are herbs. Whereas cilantro leaves are an herb, but cilantro seeds are in a spice known as coriander. A big difference. And so these are too water rich. So just like basil or parsley, you notice we're not saving those. Those do not dry very well because they have a high moisture content, and most of those essential oils will actually readily escape when you dry them. That's why if you ever see dried basil in the store, you might get a little bit out of it, but you're having to add a lot of it to your cooking in order to get a benefit. And that's why I much rather prefer fresh rather than dry when it comes to those moisture-rich herbs. But the very essential oil-rich herbs, like your Mediterranean herbs or your seeds, like for instance our fennel seed, they have a lot of oils in them. And that makes sure that those oils stick close to the plant, so when they dry, they're retained and they're not lost in the air. All right, so we're gonna hang these up here. Now, we're gonna use these little S-hooks that are already installed, but feel free to use whatever hanging method you have on hand. Now, the reason why you wanna hang these is because what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow airflow to do the work for us. You see, if you were to put these herbs into a dehydrator, a big mistake that's made is these herbs, when they're put into a dehydrator, it uses heat. And even at a low heat, that heat is going to essentially distill the essential oils out of these leaves, because what it's doing is it's taking water out of the leaves, hence dehydrating. But part of the distillation process is basically extracting the water, but also the essential oils, and that uses heat. So this is using a very gentle, long drying process that's been used for centuries. In fact, there's petroglyphs, or there are like ancient drawings that use basically that depict drying herbs, and the ancient Egyptians used it. It's been used, like I said, in basically every culture for thousands of years, because it's a very gentle way to preserve the quality of these herbs, whether it's sage, whether it's thyme, oregano, lots of different types of herbs, sandalwood, so many different herbs have been dried using air drying. It's just super convenient, and it doesn't take any energy at all, just time. Another reason why I love hang drying herbs is because the quantity that you can save all at once. Now again, in a dehydrator, you typically want to keep things to about one layer, and the reason why is you don't have any airflow if there's overlapping. So because you don't want any overlapping leaves in a dehydrator, it really limits the amount that you can dry. So this right here would be maybe 2 racks in a dehydrator, whereas I can do this in one little bunch, which is awesome. Now, when they're dry, what you can do is when they're completely bone dry, you can break them and crush them, or you can basically strip them away. They'll break away from the stem much easier. You can also leave them in the bunch, and that's fine as well. But the big thing that I would say when you're going to be using these herbs is try not to break them as much as possible. I know, and I myself use this a lot, where we take these herbs and we want to break them up. We want to put them in a smaller container, right? But when you do that, when you actually take these herbs off, imagine this is dry, take it and you break it, and you shred it, you put it through an herb grinder, or you try to make it smaller to put into a container. What have you done? Well, you've increased the surface area, and that reduces the shelf life and increases the amount of oxidation that can happen to those herbs even when dry, and that emits that aroma. That's why when you bruise herbs, or you kind of damage them and crush them, that's where you get the smell. So try to keep them whole as much as possible, and that's another reason, another of the many reasons why I love hang drying my herbs, is it retains the quality so much more. One final quick tip why I love herb drying this way is because it acts as a natural pest control in your house. Pests like spiders and ants and moths, they all are deterred from different herbs. And when those herbs are drying in your home, it actually helps to keep them away. So spiders absolutely despise the smell of rosemary. It works as a natural preventative. Ants, as well as moths, do not like thyme. Thymol is a chemical, it's a natural chemical found in the oil of the thyme plants. And thymol is a very effective pesticide, actually. So it's an organic pesticide that people have used for hundreds of years, and it actually will help to keep away pests. So if you have, as the weather gets colder, if you have a tendency to find little creepy crawlies coming into your home, herb drying like this is a great way to keep them out of your house. So that is how you hang dry herbs. It is so simple. And I know it seems really, really simple and you're probably thinking, I already knew about this and that's great. Hopefully I just reinforced some information, gave you some fun tips. But for those of you that didn't know about this method, I really hope that it helped, because I myself didn't know about this method as of about 8 years ago. And I was someone that used my dehydrator and my oven to basically dry all my herbs regardless of what it was. And when you use your oven, you're using heat. When you're using your dehydrator, you're also using heat, and that heat is kind of a corner being cut. And when you cut corners, you ultimately are going to end up with a lower quality end product and something that's going to have a much shorter shelf life. So I hope this tip helped. If you're someone that, again, grows those water-rich herbs, grow them fresh. They grow really well on a windowsill. They grow super easily underneath a grow light. We have lots of videos on how to do that, but try to stay away from, if at all possible, using them dried. I know that they do sell them in the store. I myself have even used them, and in a pinch of a pinch, yes, you can definitely do that, but you're not going to have that high of a product compared to fresh. When those water-rich herbs dry, you're going to lose so many essential oils during that process. So try to hang dry or dehydrate your very high oil content herbs and save the fresh ones for using fresh in your cooking. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you want to check out these herbs and so many more, go check out MIgardener.com. All these we carry over on our website. Well, some of the times we don't, but we will hopefully be carrying some of those in the near future. But most of these varieties we carry over there, $2 a pack. Super awesome, high quality seeds. You're gonna love them, and you'll be able to grow your own herbs. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you all on the next episode. Grow bigger. Bye.